Good afternoon and welcome to Viscount Leisure. My name's Chris and I'll be doing a virtual tour around this caravan for you this afternoon. We'll be setting off around the outside, working our way through onto the inside, and on completion demonstrating the motor mover, how that works and how that operates. Along the route we'll have some hints and tips, and you'll see where everything is, how it operates, and have a good working knowledge of the van once we're completed. So with no further ado, we're going to set off by our entrance door, the way into your caravan, commonly known in the industry as our habitation door. Pull the handle back like so, door will open, it clips back like that, on a magnetic catch at the bottom, and inside here we can see we've got a fixed place paint glazed window there, with a blackout blind on, so when we go to bed at night we can block the light out. We can come into the van and we can lock it by lifting the handle up like so and open the door like so. And also in the door we've got a nice little waste paper rubbish bin there. Built into the door frame itself is a door fly screen that will come across like so and come back, and that will stop all those horrible midges in those summers when we're in our van. We can then close the door. Supplied with your caravan is 2 keys. Okay, so we can turn the key forwards, unlock it, turn it to the rear like so, and that will unlock it and open it thus like that. On the outside we've got an awning light which will illuminate in the awning if we have an awning on, or we'll identify the side of our van or sit out underneath that with that switched on, and I'll show you how to operate that when we get inside the caravan very shortly. So you get 2 keys, and the 1 key fits all the lockers around the van, so all the locks are identical. And we've also got an alarm system on here by pressing the on and off button, which is a middle grey button like so. Okay, that will put the alarm on, as you can then see there. Okay, and off again. So, and you'll hear a faint buzz to let you know it's done it. Okay, so that's it off, and 1 buzz, it's on. So that will sound when we get into our van very shortly, and we'll hear that and see that working. Coming along then, we come to an external 230-volt socket, and that's very domesticated square pin socket like you will find at home. So that then means that when our van's connected up to mains electric on an all-purpose pitch with electric hookup, then I can put an extension lead in there if I wanted to with my awning up, and use electrical appliances outside in my awning. Now please don't forget, if you put an extender board up, even if you lie on the grass in the summer, you get a lot of moisture. Moisture and electrics don't mix, so always suggest you pull that out, take it away, and store it away at the end of each day, or make sure it's well up off the ground and it's not going to fall off in the evening. And that will close with your extender board through there, and again that will only work when you're connected up to mains electric. We now come along through to our front locker here. So this is accessible from outside under one of our front bench seats, and we can access into there for storage of equipment. Also what we can see here is there's a fuse panel just on that front bulkhead there. That is a fuse panel for your lighting circuits between your tow vehicle and your caravan. Okay, so that's the lighting circuits on the rear of the van, and there's the alarm box module that we've just armed when we set it a minute ago, and I can put that up there, close that like so, and lock it with the 1 key that fits all the locks on the van like so. Just forwards of that we come across our gas barbecue point there. This comes complete with a gas barbecue point bayonet, so if you buy a Cadac barbecue, length of hose or any gas product, you can then connect your hose to your bayonet connection, put the Jubilee clip on it. That will stay with that permanently. Every time you want to use it, plug it into the collar, turn on the gas like so, and that will then supply the gas to your barbecue for your outdoor cooking. Release that, put the cap back on like so, and drop that flap back down. I'm just going to leave that on the step just there, because inside your van, when we get inside, you'll see, and we will find you and show you a set of red folder complete with all the handbooks that came in with this caravan. When we get inside, we will put that bayonet connection into that handbook pack, so you know where everything's going to be when you come to collect the van. There's two things that we have four of. One is the grab handles sat up here. Okay, these grab handles are to manhandle the van around by hand, should you want to attempt to do so. It would take four very strong adults, being a twin wheel caravan, to try to pull this, push it, maneuver it around. Okay, but that's what those are designed for, one on each corner of your caravan. The other thing that we've got four of is four corner steadies, one in each corner, as the term says, corner steady, one on each corner to steady my caravan. So what happens then when you get to site? Well, you drive up and get onto site, you reverse onto your pitch when it's been allocated to you, and you need then to level your caravan from left to right. Okay, you do that by driving up on leveling wedges. Okay, so the side that's lower, you then lift up on the leveling wedges. Once you've got your caravan level from left to right, okay, you can then disconnect it from your tow vehicle, and then normally you park your tow vehicle to the left of the caravan as you look to the front, leaving the family in it whilst you level the caravan front to back. Now you level it from front to back by lowering it and raising it on the jockey wheel. You'll have just done that to release it off your car, so you most likely lower it or raise it to get the van level from front to back. Once you're happy that your van is level from front to back, left to right, you can then go around with the winder provided, okay, and wind down all your corner steadies by putting that into there like so. There we go, and then we can wind our legs up and down, okay, to steady the van. Now those legs are purely there to stabilize it. They're not designed to lift it up, jack it up, ready for changing a wheel, etc. They're purely there to steady the van. Once you've got all four of those corner steadies down, then your family can get inside and start getting ready for your holiday. So that's your corner steadies and your grab handles. We've just very briefly talked about our jockey wheel here. Our jockey wheel, which raises the van up and down and will then allow us to lower this down onto the tow vehicle, a tow ball of our tow vehicle. We'll lower that down. Once that engages to the tow ball, that handle will slam shut down there like so. Once I've done that, I then want to wind up my jockey wheel back up and watch the rear of my tow car raise, and then lower it back down and store my jockey wheel away on completion. We do that to make sure that's fully engaged to your tow vehicle. Once you've done that, you can then push down on the Alco Secure hedge unit there, and that will minimize the snaking and the pitch and roll of your caravan, because sat inside there is four plastic thrust pads. When I push down firm and hard onto there, those thrust pads lock onto the tow ball of my tow vehicle, and they will minimize the movement from left to right, up and down, pitch and roll and sway. Okay, so that's us connected to our tow vehicle. Here we have our handbrake. Our handbrake there is obviously to stop our tow vehicle from moving, our caravan from moving. No buttons to press, nothing, just push down on the handle. It's not going to move because I've got the steadies down, and that's my handbrake released. When I connect up, that turn comes round and it'll either wrap around the tow ball of my tow vehicle, or it will clip to a retainer that's fitted to the tow ball of my tow vehicle. The idea of the breakaway cable is, should the caravan become detached from your tow vehicle, it'll pull, snatch at the handbrake and pull it on like so, thus stopping the caravan in a controlled, safe manner until you realise it's missing and go back to collect it. So that's your breakaway cable. Last and final thing is our socket to connect up to our car, and this is our 13-pin electric socket here. So if you're new and you're having a new tow bar fitted, you need 13-pin electrics fitted to it. That will go in on the square in the bottom, twist and turn, and that will engage that. And that primary role of that is from our car lights. It will operate the lights on the rear of my caravan, from left indicator, right indicator, brake lights, side lights, fog lights, reversing lights, etc. It has two other functions coming through from our car with the engine running. One is it can operate my fridge on 12 volts, which we'll discuss more about when we get to that point. And secondly, it will charge my Leisure battery when I'm travelling from A to B, C to D. And a Leisure battery is the battery that supplies all the 12 volt electrics for my lighting, water pumps, igniters, etc., etc. inside my caravan. So Well, again, we'll speak a little bit more about that when we get to the leisure battery very shortly. So that is your airframe and what it comprises of. In the front here is our gas locker. Okay, it's got the facilities here of putting 2 bottles in side by side, strapped in like so, like that one is just there, strapped into position, in nice and tight and secure. So what have we got here? Well, we've got our gas bottle full of gas. On the top of that we've got a gas isolating valve just there. That's the same as any tap, clockwise to close it, anti-clockwise to open it. From there it comes through a bulkhead regulator that reduces bottle pressure down to van working pressure, and then from there it goes down, passes through into the van through a series of manifold through isolating valves. So each appliance inside the caravan, okay, can be independently isolated. Some do's and don'ts in here. Well, always make sure the bottles are strapped in when you put them in, okay, before traveling, so that they're not going to fly around. They're quite a chunk in there if they're loose. Always switch your gas off before you drive off, okay, so you turn that in a clockwise direction to switch that off, and then disconnect the nut on the end of the bottle there, okay. Again, that's a back to front thread. It's got 2 little grooves in there, so that will come off in a clockwise direction. It will undo in a clockwise direction on that brass nut just there. Okay, so that is on the side of there. Okay, so that's everything to do with gas in the front locker. When you disconnect that, you can then change it over and connect it onto the other bottle and go away and fill that up. Something you'd need to purchase if you're new to this, certainly, or if you're swapping this for another van, you'd transfer over what you've got. So the corner steady winder handles in there now. We provide you with a nice airframe cover to protect the front here, and a length of grey water hose, which we'll be discussing later on. Okay, so that's our gas locker there. We come now round up to the near side here. The first thing we come across is our flue from our boiler. It's an Audi heating system in here, one of the best in the marketplace, and just if we select to operate that on gas, it will naturally automatically flue through that there like any normal domestic boiler does at home. We then come across to our aqua roll. Now, if you haven't got one of these, you're new to this, something you need to purchase is a 40 litre aqua roll. This is my fresh water drum. I take it away, roll it, comes with a handle, fill it up with water, roll it back, stand it up, and then I drop in there my water pickup pipe. Now that water pickup pipe, it'll drop into the barrel, and an onboard pump will then, when the taps are operated, pump switched on, operate the pump, take the water from the barrel, putting it through the system inside the caravan, as we will see when we get inside there very shortly. The next thing we come to is our battery locker, housing the leisure battery, as we've just discussed about leisure battery, which operating all my lights, my water pump, my igniters, 12-volt sockets, etc., USB charging, all comes off that leisure battery. So as we speak quite quickly there, you can see there's an awful lot comes off it. So we need to charge it. Well, we just discussed that when connected to our tow vehicle with our engine running, that will charge my leisure battery. So if I'm touring and I'm going from site to site, between each site, then my battery will charge from my tow vehicle with the engine running. Secondly, when I'm plugged into mains with an orange lead, or like so, okay, that will then charge my battery off an onboard 240-volt battery charger, which we will see when we get inside, and that will constantly charge the battery all the time I'm on mains electric. If I'm not on mains and I'm not travelling and I'm wild camping in the field in the middle of nowhere, on board here I've got a solar panel, and that solar panel will take the sun rays and transfer that through to charge my leisure battery, or trickle charge my leisure battery. So if I'm in storage not using it, it will maintain that battery. Now that battery will stop on this caravan. There is no guarantees, promises given to it. It's on there because the solar panel needs a circuit to work to, so it needs to have something to work against. therefore we leave the battery on. As I said, there's no guarantees on that. Looks quite a good battery. It might last you 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, 5 years, I can't tell, but it's a fairly decent looking battery. So that's the Leisure battery already on there. The other thing that you might need to purchase if you're new to caravanning is a mains lead. Your mains lead is a 25-metre lead normally you purchase, and the golden rules to that is plug into your van first and then go off and plug into your point of electric. On completion, disconnect from your point of electric and then come back and disconnect from your caravan. The reason for doing that is because you're always dealing with dead power, you're never dealing with live power, therefore it minimises the risk of harm, injury or electrocution to yourself. So just to reiterate, into van, into electric, out of van. We said they come in 25-metre lengths. It's always a great idea to have them all the cable stretched out. Lots of people end up putting these on drums and leave the cable on the drums. By leaving the cable on the drums, you're then leaving it knitted in a nice tight ball. These do draw quite a lot of current through there, so if it's left in a tight ball, it will overheat the cables, melt the inner cores, and then you won't have any power to your van. So it's always a great idea to fake out that cable alongside your van. This locker door will close up, okay, with the barrel out of the way, like so, and close up with the lead coming out of the bottom, so you can lock and secure that away. Passing by here is your twin wheels and twin motor movers, which we'll discuss at the end. Just aft of those movers here, and I'll drop those little flaps down because you'll see them, that's my grey water outlet. Now, we mentioned about the grey water holes in the front. This is a grey water outlet. Your grey water, it's the water from your kitchen sink, your wash hand basin and your shower. They will all come out of there. Now, the hose supplied, you can either cut it in half or you can buy a little T-piece in the shop and put 2 smaller parts onto one. But you would also need to purchase a Wastemaster, and that Wastemaster is a low, long barrel that's on 2 wheels that lies down there low, so that will then flow down and go into your Wastemaster. The idea of that is it collects all the grey water into that barrel, and then you take it away and empty it. Pretty much the rule of thumb is when your freshwater barrel's empty, your wastewater barrel will be full, so you do all your ablutions at the same time. The next thing we come across down this side here is our toilet area. Now, the toilet on a caravan, everyone gets worried about it, but the truth is it's no different to going to the toilet in your caravan as it is to going to your toilet at home. Instead of it going down a 6-inch soil pipe and into a sewer, this is going through a 3-inch gate valve and into a holding tank. Instead of having a cistern that fills automatically, you manually have to fill this header tank here with fresh water and add a pink additive to that to dilute it. So that pink additive does 2 things. It lubricates the internal pump that's inside there, okay, and it also gives you a nice fragrant smell when you flush your toilet. Once you come to empty your toilet, again, same key, all here, we can drop the toilet cassette locker down like so. We lift the handle up, the orange handle like that, and we extract the toilet like so. The idea of that is if it doesn't come out with the ease that I've just demonstrated, it's because somebody has been to the toilet and left this gate open. What you see from inside your van is that. If somebody's been in and left that open so it's running across the van, that will not happen, and that will then stop you getting the toilet out. So don't force it, just run back in. There's a little handle on the side of the toilet you'll see in a minute when we go inside. Turn that round and that makes it close, and it'll come out with the ease I've just demonstrated. Once you've removed it for the van, you can got 2 choices. You can either wheel it off to what's known as an Elson point on site, or you can carry it over there by hand. Either or, once you get there, give it a good shake up to break down its contents. Unscrew the cap on the end, placing it somewhere well away from where you're about to empty your toilet. Once you've done that, spin it round, press a little air release button there, and empty the contents of your toilet to ground. Once that's emptied out and to ground, then you can wipe it, clean it. Every Elson point will have a hose pipe there. Wash it out so it's all nice and clean to the level and standard of cleanliness that you want it. come back to your van, then you can charge it ready for use. The good book says 75 ml of blue liquid chemical into there and add 2 litres of water. I recommend that you get your container, put a couple of glugs in because you can't really get it wrong, and if you're using the van, don't dilute it down because it takes up valuable usage space. So what I recommend is, once you've finished your trip, wash it out, clean it out. If you're going out in a couple of 3 weeks time in the midsummer, put your blue chemical in and flush a little bit of toilet water down into there just to thin it down slightly, then it's ready for use. In the winter, empty it out, don't recharge it at all. Speaking of the winter months, you'll hear us at the end. We will winterize this van so you know exactly what to do and how you will find it when you collect it. And in this process, we talk about winterizing this tank here. We all know that water freezes, it expands. Inside there is a reasonably fragile pump. If that freezes inside the water in there, then you've got the risk of it expanding and cracking the pump housing. So we need to drain this down, and we drain this down by just flicking up a little black hose in a holding recess there. We fetch it out like so, we nip it, and then this one's been drained already because we have had some frost. We drain that down like so, and that empties that tank to ground. Now what I normally do, okay, is I do this reasonably every trip, and I drain that into a gallon container, okay, put my pink fluid into there, and when I get the other end, I pour it back in the top again. Okay, so that is to drain down your toilet chemical from there, the flush tank chemical, which you must do, especially in the winter. Coming round to the rear, you find you've got your lighting clusters, your grab handles we talked about there, high level brake light, and this van's been fitted with 2 2-lay bars at factory for a bike rack on the rear if you wanted to do so. Coming along down this side here now, this has got a nice bed in the rear, so underneath here we have got our spare wheel sat there, the carpets for this caravan, but once all that's laid out, that gives you plenty of storage space, accessible from inside and outside also. So we will cover more of that from the inside in a minute. We come along here, and the vents that we see just here are the vents for the back of the fridge. Now when we get inside, the fridge will look reasonably like a domesticated fridge. We've already touched on the fact that we can use our towing electrics to operate our fridge. Doesn't operate much like a domestic fridge. It operates on heat, and the heat changes a liquid to a gas. The gas is a cooling medium, cools the fridge down, comes back as a liquid, and recircles again. So the heat is needed. The reason for that is because we can use this caravan anywhere we want. We can operate the fridge when we're travelling from A to B, C to D, etc., connected to our tow vehicle with our engine running, and that operates a small 12-volt heating element in the back of the fridge, which allows that process to happen. Not the most efficient by a long shot, but it will maintain the temperature when you're moving around, and it will start to chill when you're travelling from home to your first site. Secondly, it'll work off 240-volt electric, and in there we've got our electric element, and that is slightly more efficient, and that will work the fridge normally on a plug-up hook-up site. And thirdly, if I'm in a field in the middle of nowhere, it will also operate off gas, so I can run that fridge on gas, okay, in there, and that will work the same. And we'll show you the operation of that when we get inside very shortly. This caravan doesn't come with a hitch lock. That is something that you would need to purchase, okay, something that's important that you purchase, but it does come with Alcor secure wheel locks. Now these are wheel locks here that will actually fit the wheels, and what they do is they will fit through the spokes like so. So what we need to do when we operate this is the yellow cap there, the stud, we need to make sure that that is central to the big spoke where that's going to fit through like so. With that fitted in there, we then get our box here, and here we have the bolt that drops through, and to that bolt we have got a one only key that fits in, so that will then screw through into there, okay, spanner provided to lock it off. Once that's in, remove that bolt, which is the only one that will fit that lock, so don't ever lose it. Open up your lock there, that releases the balls on the end, push that into there like so and lock it, and that's locked off again with it in the spoke of the wheel, little rubber plug to protect it from dirt and grime in the end. And that's your Alcor Secure. Now you've got two of these, one for each wheel. Okay, the tip to do with these is when you come to use the mover at the end, we'll talk about it, but the ideal to get one wheel at least done is to operate it on your mover so you can line it up. Okay, and once it's lined up, then you can offer that in. The little bit on the end there will go in to unscrew the yellow caps in there. So you have two of those, okay, that will secure the wheels on this side of your caravan, which is a super, very expensive safety locking feature for your van. You'll find those when you collect your caravan. What we're going to do is put it all in this rear locker here. Okay, so all of this equipment you will find in the back here with your spare wheel, etc. Okay, so we're going to drop those. No, we won't. I'll tell you where we'll put them so everything's together. I'm going to put them in the front locker. Okay, so they'll go into the gas locker, so when you come to collect your van, then you'll see everything in the one place. Okay, so we'll put those inside here for you. All right, so you know exactly where they'll be. 1 and 2 sat just there like so. Okay, so we've completed everything around the outside, which means now we can come through onto the inside. In we come, keys down. We'll do a similar sort of thing. There's the alarm sounding. Okay, press the button, 3 beeps and it's off. All the handbooks relevant to your caravan, as we discussed, are sat just there. Okay, so we're going to drop your barbecue point into the bottom of that bag and then zip that up, so everything relevant to the van that came in with us, and that will be in the second drawer down in that front drawer chest when you come to collect your caravan. So then you've got above that, you've got a second drawer, and above that one there you've got that board that comes out to give you a nice breakfast bar area, so you can have your tea and toast in the morning, coffee and biscuits 10 o'clocks, pork and cheese board in the evening, sat there looking out the window enjoying the world go by. Working from the top round, we've got our overhead camera with our stereo here. All right, JVC CD player there through the speaker system. The source button is the on and off button, which shuts that down, and the release the faceplate is just down there. Always take those out, and you will find that in your handbook pack when you come to collect your van. So don't think your radio's missing, it's in with your handbooks down there like so. Okay, so that's where you find that. Locker on the other side there. Okay, through fixed pane window here. This is fixed window, all right, with a blackout blind. So we have a blackout blind there to stop the light coming in at night, and then we can close it back up like so. Nice downlighter here, so when we're sat having an evening meal, okay, then we can switch that on if we so wanted to. And we've got 4 reading lights working our way around, which are dimmable from the back, so I can have them bright or dim, switched on from there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so there's my reading lights, all directional, however I want. Come through to the windows here, so we can open the windows like so, and there, and we can lock them off with the thumb screws to any position that we want to lock them off in, like that. And then built into the frames we've got a fly screen, and we can put our blackout blinds, and we can set and place those wherever we want to get ventilation. We can still watch our telly with a nice ventilation, but being able to see quite clearly. Parting company, we can drop them down all the way up for night time, and then just support the window as you slacken those off and lock that in. So unlock your window like that, and all your windows around your caravan are exactly the same. Okay, the front here, a nice dinette, dining area and lounge area, will transform into a double bed. So if you get guests come over and need to stop over, then you can pull the bed slats out like so, lifting it over through the retainers. And then I always recommend you drop the back in, turn it upside down, and then turn the knee roll up the other way like so, dropping that in to position. That side does the same, and then you've transformed into a rather large double bed for the front. What we're going to do is we're just going to put that over there like so, put our slats away, and then they slide just back in, just like that, okay, into position like that. What we're now going to do is just pull that off, because you can access that locker that we saw from outside through there like so, okay, or you can access it through from the front down there like that. Okay, we're going to do exactly the same on the other side, because on the other side it backs onto our battery locker, and there's a little bit more going on through here that we can have a little look at and see what's happening. So with that now nicely out of the way, our boiler's sat in this front corner just under here that we said about, and that's an Audi boiler. And what happens with that is that does my heating and hot water, and will operate on gas or electric. Excuse me. And again, we operate that on gas and electric, so if we're in a field in the middle of nowhere, we can run it on gas. We don't need to be on electric to operate or live in our caravan. So it circulates the water around, no different to a domestic central heating system at home. Okay, around your van it goes and comes back and reheats and goes around again. Our water pump, which takes water from outside, there's our inlet through, draws the water from the barrel through the system and around the system to our taps, and we'll see those operate shortly. And it'll put the cold in to push the hot out if we draw off hot water. To drain my boiler, okay, I then need to open this valve here, and that will then drain my boiler to ground and my water system. Now, it's reason the pump's cut in because it works on a pressure system. Pressure drop, pump cuts in, recharges the system again, and that's how that works. And that is a whole remit of emptying our boiler through that valve on there like so. This is the back of the battery locker that we saw, and this is the mover control box for our motor movers. We come through there, that's my intelligent battery charger we talked about, the 240 volt battery charger that charges the Leisure battery when I'm plugged into mains electric. And then I come through to my PSU, power supply unit on there, split that down the middle, 12 volts to the left, 240 volts to the right. There's all my fuses tied up from fuse number 1 through to 10. Drop the flap down there and it'll tell you exactly which fuse does what on the sheet just there. So if I've got anything that doesn't work, that's my first point I need to be looking at. Come through to this side here, I've got my master RCD and my 3 MCBs across there, and that will tell you sockets, heating system, fridge, etc, etc. Okay, and then you've got independent switches on the top, heating and hot water, and my charger there. All right, so I can switch those on and off, and that acts as my master switch on there. Now, one little tip that we get plenty of questions about, and we'll try to eliminate through this video and you watching it, is that if you get on site and you've got no electric, these don't light up, it possibly isn't your van. The first thing to do is to check by checking and testing the little yellow button there with T on it. That's my test button. If this has got power to it, that will trip like so. If it hasn't got power to it, okay, then I press that button, that won't trip, that breaker won't trip. If it doesn't trip, what that signifies to me is it is the electrics coming down your cable from your van, so it's the site electrics that's the problem, not the van that's a problem. So a little tip, just make sure you check that now and again and make sure everything's okay. All right, so there is our PSU under there, and again we saw the front of that come off, and then we can put all our front lounge back together again like so. In we go in and through, and there we have now seen dining room, second bedroom, lounge, yeah, all going on the front here. Okay, just here we've got a sequence of switches. The top one there does my lights on the top, my overhead lights. Okay, the ones down there, there we go, that does my lights above my kitchen and cooker area. The one to the right there, and that one on the front there, and we've still got a downlighter on there as well. So that downlighter there does my light switch there. Okay, and the backlighter for that one is that one just there. The idea of the one down here is so that you can put your lights on when you're coming in. All right, so that'll illuminate that area up for when you come in. And again, that one does my backsplash lighting just there. Okay, little footlight just down here, so there's a little footwell light that's operated from the switch just there, like so. So that switches that light on and off down the bottom there. Okay, the 240 volt sockets here, okay, are there for using chargers, etc., whatever you want to put into those, only if you're plugged into mains electric. If you're not plugged into mains electric, they won't be active and therefore they won't operate. So you won't be able to use your curler straighteners, hair dryers, razor shavers, toasters, kettles, etc., only when you're plugged in with your orange lead onto a fully supported site. Little worktop on the end that lifts up like so. Okay, locks into position just like that. All right, so it extends the workshop in my kitchen area, and then I can release that and drop that down like so. Coming along now, we come to our overhead cupboards over this side, plate rack, mug rack, and there is a charge controller for the solar panel which is sat on my roof. Now that is all self-maintenance, we talked about that outside. That controls the amount of power from the sun and the daylight that goes to your leisure battery to charge it. Okay, so it all automatic, does its own thing. I always suggest, okay, lightweight equipment up top, heavyweight down below. So I would say chocolate crisps and peanuts upstairs, wines, beers and spirits down below. Heavy items such as awnings or large amounts, a copious amount of beer over your axle sitting about here. Coming through to the kitchen area now, we've got our drawer with our cutlery drawer there, okay, and our storage cupboards down underneath here like so, with a nice slide out shelving system and a chopping board and a draining board for our sink. Down here is the isolating valves, okay, colour coordinated, green and blue. Blue is the fridge, green is the hob and the oven, etc. Okay, so there's our gas isolators for those two items. Shut the doors off like so, and then here we can pop that there, and we can see we've got a socket down there with a plug already in it. That plug operates the hot plate on the rear, so we've got 3 gas burners and a hot plate. Our oven comes down like so while I'm on my hands and knees, and I turn my oven through there, and that will light itself and release. You can see the flame down through there, okay, and there operates our oven, numbered 1 through till 6, okay, about 240, 260 degrees down to minimum. All right, and it's a fan assisted oven, and the fan will cut in when it needs to assist the heat around the fan. Heat around the fan, heat around the oven. Grill pan and grill pan handle, that's the next dial over, and with that one we press it, hold it, light it, ignite it, hold it and release it, and it stays lit. Okay, we just need to get the thermocouple slightly warm on there, and then it will stay lit in the flame at the back. All right, and there we have our grill, so we can speed up and slow down the speed we want to cook our toast off in the morning. We then come up to the push button on the other side. Is a push button for light in the oven there. Okay, and now we can light our 3 gas hobs, 1, 2 and 3 like so. There we are. So we've got our 3 gas hobs there. They will all go down to a simmer ring, okay, minimum, without going out, and back to maximum, and then round again into the off position. If I turn on there, it's showing me my electric hobs on with a red light there, and then I can put a little drop of water on there. Don't want to get that too warm, just enough for you to see it working. There it starts to steam and evaporate away. Okay, we're going to switch it off at that, and I'm going to dry it off so I can shut the glass lid down without the risk of damaging it. Okay, so there we have our electric hob, and we can then move down and close down our glass hob lid like so. Light switch underneath there, we can switch on and off, and then we've got our microwave there. Okay, all self-explanatory. Quick start, up in second increments, cancel, stop, open the door. When you collect your van, the plate and the tray in there will be in your handbooks also. Turning round here, we've got our storage cupboard there, storage cupboard down below, and our TV station here where we can have it on 12 volts, 240 or an aerial, and stand and freestand our TV on that shelf just down there. So coming along now, we come through to our overhead locker here, and this houses my TV aerial. From the TV aerial here, which is directional, by slackening the collar off, I can raise it, dial it, rotate it, always having the green, that point there facing forwards when we're traveling. Okay, that actually allows us to alter the plane on the top of the aerial to get the best possible picture we can. We put that into position like so, and just a slight nip to nip it into place. That aerial then comes through and feeds this booster box. This booster box here comes through and then will boost the signal output one way we've just seen down there. I can switch it on and off from there, and again that booster is fed from our 12 volt system off the Leisure battery. Here we've got your fridge and freezer, so you've got a full-size top freezer and our fridge there. There we are. We made ice earlier on today, so we've got a nice chunky chunk of ice, but you can see you've got a beautiful fridge freezer, salad crisper, lights, etc., and all our door pockets just there. So here's our controls we were speaking about: electric, gas, and the battery is our 12 volt coming from our car when we are connected to the car. So how do we change those? Well, that panel's gone slightly dim, so if I press it, it brightens it up. Press it again. I've now changed from gas to electric. I want to go back to gas. I press gas and it will automatically ignite, light, and work from there. If I press the battery, okay, it's alarming because I'm not connected to my tow vehicle with the engine running. The minute I am, and I've switched my gas off and my electric's disconnected, then that would cancel out and it would operate on there. So we'll go back to electric, and now our fridge is operating on electric, yeah, and running quite happily. So there's electric, gas, and 12 volt from our tow vehicle with the engine running. The one with the thermometer on there, okay, goes from minimum to maximum, so I can be cold, cool, and cold. Okay, we normally have it set about the 3 or 4 mark. To cancel my alarm, we press the button and cancel there. To switch it off, press and hold the button on the left hand side, and there's my fridge all now nicely switched off and shut down. We have on these little, if we push those in like so, they'll come out like that. So when we close that door, it leaves it in a nice vented catch position, and the idea of that is it will minimize mildew and bacterial growth in your fridge if it's stored away for a lengthy period of time. So now we've made ice, we can demonstrate here our kitchen tap, etc. Open the tap onto cold, move it through to hot like so. Although this looks very domesticated tap, it is only plastic. The hot water's coming through from our boiler, and you can see the steam coming off there. This is running at a temperature of around about 60 degrees. So instantly, yeah, there we go. is, and you can see that I can mix that tap. I don't have to have it that hot and burn my fingers. All right, I can mix that away, and there we have got rid of our ice. We're slightly leaning forwards and our water's back, so that's why it's been slow to flow. If I'd lifted the front up and I'd levelled the van correctly, that would be running away much quicker, which proves the point of the reason that we need and like to have our van level. It will drain, it would just drain quicker if we were slightly back, and I use that for a demonstration purpose. So there's our kitchen, hot water, yeah, taps, etc. Pump cuts in and runs. So we've done our kitchen and the front, so now we're going to come through to our master bedroom. We can undo that, that will come over there and separate off, so I can separate my living area from my bedroom area if I so want to choose to do so. And coming through here, push the button, opens a little cabinet up there, nice mirror in, couple of sockets on there to operate my hairdryer, razor, shavers, etc. Aerial point and a 12-volt point, so I now have a TV in my bedroom. The switch there does my overhead lights over the top there. Okay, the one here does my little footlight just down there like so. Okay, so there's another little footlight just there like that. All right, that one there, I believe, we'll switch on. We'll find a little switch for that in a minute. Oh, there it is, top one there comes on with those lights. Okay, so it comes on with that overhead light on the top there. Coming through to our wardrobe here, there's a freestanding table that we can use inside or outside, so we can have a nice dining, eating experience with our friends, or we can have that outside. And in the back of the wardrobe, it's a header tank for our wet Audi heating system. So that needs to be in that position. That allows a head of water which heats up. It's an expansion tank for the water to flow around the system. Now you'll see it's set at around about minimum. It's not actually circulating at the moment because the van's up to temperature. When it is, that'll bubble and juggle away. Okay, if I do have it at max, it's going to come right up the tank. So we always have it set about minimum when it's cool, because it will expand as it goes. So that's my wardrobe with a header tank for my heating system and my table sat in there. Chest of drawers and a nice drop down cupboard at the bottom underneath there. My independent reading lights, like the same as the ones at the front, with two overhead cupboards just there like so. Running through our van, we've got a series of skylights. We'll demonstrate the one at the front, it's a little easier. Press the button in and I can open that skylight all the way up and wide. And yes, I've got blackout blinds and fly screens, so I can vent and shade, black out the light at night to sleep, etc. I can fetch that down and set that at any given position, all right, 1 and 2, so I can still be vented and down and closed like so. Okay, and that goes on and through to the one in the rear. Above the kitchen, all right, I've also got, by opening that up, I can press that, all right, and then I've got an extractor fan here which will take air out, or if I reverse it the other way, it will fetch air in through on 6-speed settings. Okay, it'll stop itself automatically, change direction, switch it off like so. Okay, I'm making sure it's one of those that can be easily forgotten. You close it down before you travel off if you've had that one open. We mentioned the bed. We can lift the bed up like so. There we are. That's what we saw from outside. There's the carpets that belong in here. Your spare wheel down there, so you can see you've got a huge amount of storage underneath there, from outside or inside, which is ideal for your tables, chairs, windbreaks, etc, etc. And then that closes off like that. The reason you've got the infill cushion, because at night you can extend that bed, drop that in the end, and you've got a longer bed than you have normally with a smaller, narrower access. When we don't want it, we can push it back in and store it away like so for travelling. Come through to the other side, we've got our cupboards there, we've got our reading light there, we've got our wardrobe and a cupboard down below, and we've got our bathroom door, which we need. We can operate that like so. One, if you don't take anything else from this, try to remember before you travel off, you lock that door in position. It does love to fly off, have a shower, come back, end up on the bed and leave some dents and marks on the way. So prior to travelling, always make sure that you lock your bathroom door. Entering into your bathroom now, you can see you've got cupboard spaces all over the place. It's a really nice appointed bathroom here, plenty of storage. You've got a towel radiator running off the heating system just there. Your light switch that does all your lights in your bathroom. That one does this side, that one does the shower. Okay, beautiful lighting system in here. And because we've had hot water at the front of the van in our kitchen tap, we're guaranteed to have hot water here in the rear, because it's one boiler feeds all the taps. It just takes a little while, it's got a long way to run. Okay, there it is, Welsh hot. Same with your shower, open it there, and you can see you've got lovely shower pressure there. The downside of having such wonderful shower pressure is that somebody will get in there and want to spend all day in there. Well, they're limited to 40 litres of water if you've got a full barrel on there, otherwise somebody will be running off. So my tip is always get in, get wet, switch it off, soap down, switch it on, rinse off, switch it off and get out again. Okay, you've got a nice shower door on there that will come across and slide over like so, again locked in place for transit, with a drying rail in there for drying our clothes once we've been all those hikes and walks in the wet. Okay, hook on there, slightly different skylight in the back here. We can drop the fly screen down, what I call as a tilt and turn rock and roll skylight. So if the wind's blowing in that direction and it's raining, I can still leave it open and ventilate and get rid of that steam and condensation when I'm showering. Clip it all the way down before travelling off like so. So there we have our bathroom. The last thing to discuss is the toilet that nobody likes to discuss, but it's very easy. The only thing about it is it will swivel, so you can set it wherever you want. You lift it up, whether you choose to sit or stand to go to the toilet. You can then, on the side here is a grey lever we were talking about, just down there. That will open and close, so go to the toilet, open, press the button, pump runs if the tank was full, puts out our water, flushes it down into the tank, and once we're finished, we always make sure we close that gate because it makes it easy for the operator to remove the tank and take it away, and it also retains the smells in the toilet and not in our caravan. Nice frosted window in the rear as well, and again that's got your blackout blinds and fly screens and a nice little dress blind on there that matches up. Switching the lights off in our bathroom like so, there we have your bathroom. So we've now done bathroom, bedroom, kitchen, lounge, dining room and spare bedroom. Coming back down and round to the front, we'll get rid of the noisy bits, which is the smoke detector and the carbon monoxide detector. We'll walk away from those while they just finish their cycle, and that leaves us two things left to do, which are our two control panels. Okay, which the first one we're going to cover is our Audi heating system panel, which is this panel just here. So what that's telling me at the moment is that's a little house with a thermometer in. The internal temperature in my van is 21.5 degrees and I'm plugged into mains electric. If I press the menu button, it then comes up and gives me things to do. Again, we've now got the little house there with the temperature thermostat in, and I was set at 21 degrees. What I'm now going to do is just increase that up to 24.5, 25. I can raise that all the way to 30 and back all the way down to 5. That is no different to your room thermostat at home on your central heating system. If I now go back to the front page, you can see I've got a little circulating arrow. That means the circulating pump on the boiler has cut in and it's circulating the water around the van to heat it up. And the heat comes through, up through the back of all the vents and through there. It comes down that side along and it'll come out through that vent there, warms up. It's a wonderful heating system. So we now know it's operating, and what it's going to try to do is get the temperature up to what I've set it at, which is 25 degrees. The one down below there with the shower on there is my hot water. Well, it's set there now and we've got 60 degrees. If I press it again, okay, and that goes to a full black triangle, that means I've gone into boost. And what that means is it will prioritise heating my hot water over heating my van. So the circulating pump's now stopped. Once it's heated my hot water, it will then fetch it'll fetch the heating back online. Or if I set it to 60 degrees, the mid position, heating and hot water together. Switch it off. There we are. That's my water heating off or at 60. I can then choose what power I want to use. The little lightning strike there is my electric, and I can go from off to 1 kilowatt of electric, 2 kilowatts of electric, even 3 kilowatts of electric. The flame in the bottom left hand corner is my gas flame, so I can put it onto gas. I can switch electric off. I can operate it on gas if I wasn't on electric. In the middle of winter, okay, I can use it on electric and gas, which will get my van hotter quicker and maintain the temperature that much more efficiently. Okay, if I'm in a field in the middle of nowhere, I'd be gas only and just have the gas on like so. Okay, or I can switch the gas off. If I press the settings button in the corner, I can go through a whole series of settings. Now I could be all day going through these, so I leave you some fun at the end of the day. The one I do like to check is priority is set to electric, which means that what we've just discussed is it'll prioritise electric over gas. The other one I like to show you is the reset button, because if I press the reset button, that will reset everything in the system back to factory settings. So should you have a problem or an hiccup, reset that all back and reprogram it again. Press the return key. The rest are just languages, services, etc, etc. Comes back to the front page. The only one you really need to use. So I've got 25 degrees set, bit too warm. I'm going to leave this set around the 19 mark for when you collect it. I'm going to switch the hot water off. And I'm going to switch the electric off, and the gas is already off. Little point to note, I can run my heating on here with no water in the van as long as I haven't got my hot water switched on, because it will heat and the air and blow it through and heat the water to heat the radiators to blow it through, to push it through the system. So I don't need water in here to operate my heating, but I do need water in if I want to put my heating on there, so always make sure that's off. Once I've finished, button on the bottom left hand corner switches it off, and that's my panel off. Coming over now to the master panel over here, well, we know that the pump there cuts in like so. Okay, there's the pump cut in. If I press my water pump there, it stops the pump. So that's my water pump isolation switch. My lights, that's my overhead lights there, so I can switch those on, and I can set those and dim them, all right, or brighten them. So I've got a dimmer level there from 100 down from 5. See them dim down? Okay, and back up to wherever I would like to set the dimmer on those, and that will do the ones in my bedroom and the ones in my lounge. Okay, that's the top one there. The bottom one will switch on and off all my lights there and on. If I leave my lights on, I switch master switch for all my lights. I can switch those off from up there as well. And my awning light shows me blue light on, as we saw outside, and off again there like so. Okay. And the inner switch just down there also does my awning light, as you can see from there as well. So that's that off. I can scroll through here. So what we've got there, 13.5 volts in my Leisure battery. Okay, a Sergeant there, Leisure charging. Yeah, well, we can then go into that and see that Leisure is charging there. It's at 13.5 volts. Yeah, no vehicle battery. Solar to vehicle, we've got 0.6 of an amp going in there even in this weather condition, and 13.5 volts there. AC limit, is a limit that I can set on there. All right, so should I go on a site that's only got 6 amps, I set it to 6. So if anything over 6 amps comes on, it won't power it up, so it won't trip the site. We normally leave that set at off, okay, so you can get the hang of what you're doing with it. There we go. So there is no AC limit on. Internal temperature, dimmer levels, okay, and you're back to the front screen. That's telling me we've got solar, leisure battery, okay, on there. And to switch this panel off, bottom right hand button, power off. On the Sergeant unit under the seat here, we have got a system shutdown button. Now I'm going to remove this because we're going to go into a winterization program with your water system in a minute, and I want to show you how to drain it. One other thing that we can do is on there is an on and off. Now that is a system shutdown, so that will isolate. That's no different to taking the negative terminal off your leisure battery. It isolates everything. Still allows your battery to be charged from your solar, but it isolates to protect your battery in those winter months. Okay, what we're going to do now is talk about winterization of your caravan, and I want to get you in the habit of it straight away. So it's really critical. We've already said water expands. If we leave all our taps closed like that and the water in the system, it freezes, it's got nowhere to go, it's going to damage our plastic taps, inserts and our plastic pipework fittings, etc., because it's got to expand somewhere. So the first thing we do is we drain our boiler to ground by lifting that lever up into the vertical upright position like so. Okay, so that is my boiler drain valve, all right, into the upright position. That's now, the pump hasn't cut in because it's switched off, so that's draining now to ground. I then want to come along to all of my taps and set them in the mid position and open the taps. By putting them in the mid position, that means that the water in the hot leg and the cold leg, should it freeze, has got somewhere to go. Okay, now you might come into your caravan and find you've got a great big icicle from there to your sink. That's great news, because it's done its job correctly. It's had somewhere to expand. So that is how we want to do that. So when you come and collect your caravan and you're all excited and you get home and you get on site, you want to put water in it, what do you need to do? The first thing you need to do is go away, fill up your barrel, fetch it back to your van, put your water pickup pump into there, and then come into your van. Once your pickup pipe's in, your barrel's outside, come in your van and close the boiler drain from the vertical upright position to the parallel to the floor position like so. Either way, up to drain. Okay, so with that down into position flat parallel to the floor, I then need to come round and close my taps 1, 2 and 3. With all 3 of my taps now closed, I can put on my main panel by pushing the button in the bottom right hand corner, and then I can switch on my water pump. By switching my water pump on, okay, that then will allow us to purge and prime the system, and we do that by opening our kitchen tap into the cold position, swiftly moving it through to the hot position. And what's now going to happen is the water pump's going to take the water from the barrel, take it in through and push it into the boiler. But we've got all the air in the boiler, so it's going to push all the air out, coming out through the tap, coughing and spluttering as it goes, and this process takes 3, 4 to 5 minutes. Normally gives you time to go and empty a gallon of Blink liquid into your toilet tank while you're waiting. When you come back, you should then find you've got a constant flow of cold water coming out of the hot side of your tap. With a constant flow of hot water coming out of the hot side of your tap, you can then go ahead and close that one and do exactly the same in the shower and the bathroom. That means that your system is then fully purged and primed. With your system fully purged and primed, you can then come through to your Audi panel, switch that on and put your hot water heating on, because you now know your boiler's full. So that's what you would do when you pick up your caravan and you want to get water in it. So what we're going to do now, just before we demonstrate the mover, is we're going to get ready to connect up to a tow vehicle and start disconnecting a few things. So we'll put the door back like so. We want to go around and we must turn our gas off before we drive off. Now this is my test bottle. It will come off and it will not be in the van when you collect. All right, so you will need to either transfer yourself a bottle or purchase a bottle, which your salesman will advise you accordingly. All our vans are normally plumbed up for propane because it is a winter gas and all the year round gas that you never need to change. I can now come along here to my water pickup point, pulling the trigger on the bottom and then releasing that out from the van, and there is the pickup point from my water. Now this tends to curl up, okay, especially in these cold months. Now what lots of people do is put a wooden stake along there or something with some cable ties to keep it in straight so it goes to the bottom of the barrel. They do have a tendency of floating up to the top, so if you struggle to get a suction, make sure you've done something with that to keep it out straight. Okay, you would then empty your water barrel, take it away, clean it, wipe it and put it back in the van, ready for transit wherever you deem fit to do that. You would then also come along and empty your waste master, clean it, wipe it, wash it and store it in your van ready for transit, closing up the two little drains just underneath there like so. My colleagues just shouted at me, they've disconnected the electric at that end, so I'm nice and safe to disconnect my mains from there. Again, you would coil this up, more than likely store it in your front locker or under your bed or wherever you deem fit that you'd like to store it. Me, I'm just putting it down there ready for my next one. As soon as this comes out, I'll have another one to film. I'm going to leave that open because in a minute we're going to operate the motor mover. The gas bottle I'll take off very shortly. Okay, which leaves us now the motor mover to show you and demonstrate. Okay, so what I now want to do is I want to engage the rollers of the motor mover onto my wheels. I get my handle like so, I put that onto there and I come up with my handle over and then I push forward, keeping a flat hand because there's nothing worse, experience tells me, of doing that and slipping off and your knuckles hitting the bottom. Now I've done that one on that side, I can do both on that side if I want, all right, but just to demonstrate the fact that that's gone on from that side onto both, I can actually do the same on this side here and forwards, okay, like so, and that's now engaged the one on that side there, double checking that it's engaged onto this wheel here as well. Okay, so that's how we engage the rollers to our tyres. I tend to always keep everything inside the doorway just there because A, I know where it is, and B, it's always nice and accessible. I then pick up my key, okay, which is the isolating key. You can't put this in when you're plugged into mains, so you need your battery to be good. Put that in like so and turn it. Now by doing that, that's taking power direct from my battery to my motor mover control box. I can now switch on my handset by pressing the two green buttons together like so and getting a steady green light. With the movers engaged, I can now go around. What I should have done before that was take up the corner steadies. I'm going to use my drill here like so and take up the steadies. It's much quicker and it gives me an opportunity to say that you can buy all these accessories in our fully stocked shop on site. Okay, so they're all readily available, from the adapter in the end of the drill I'm using now to tables, chairs, lightweight chairs, awnings, yeah, you name it, we stock it. Toilet chemicals, nothing that your caravanning experience, we won't have it in the shop for you. Okay, so it's all there ready for you to visit and purchase what you may need. So we'll just take this last steady up here. There it is. My fault, I'm a little bit back to front, I should have done that first. Which now means I can release the handbrake. Now my caravan's not going to move anywhere because the rollers are engaged to the wheels. We've got our handset switched on by pushing the two green buttons together to switch that on there like so. I can swing that round because there's the airframe. I press the forward button and there it will move my caravan forwards like so. Okay, the jockey wheel rotates around and then I can hook this up onto my tow vehicle. Okay, I can park it wherever I need it. I can move it backwards. I can swing it through to the right like so. Okay, I can move it back again to the left. I can move it forwards on the angle I want it. Okay, it is ever so precise. So when I get home, I can park it tight against the wall on this side, as long as I can get my isolating key out and put it exactly where I need it to go. One thing I did mention to you is we can use this to align the first wheel. Okay, so you can see, there we go, for putting your wheel lock in. I suggest that you take the yellow cap out, make sure it lines up. If it doesn't, you can just give it a little tweak. Okay, so that is a way and the tip for doing that. Once you're finished and you're parked exactly where you want to be, come along and put the handbrake on like so. You can then switch off your handset by pressing either or of the buttons with a little circle round, the green buttons. I can then take my isolating key out from there like so. I can now put these inside the van, just inside the door as we saw earlier, like here. And this is where they'll be when you come to collect your caravan. I can get the handle then for my rollers mover. I can put that on. I can lift that up. Be careful it doesn't crack away at your hands. Okay, and I can remove the front set of rollers and the back set of rollers like so, and now they are fully disengaged from the wheels, which is paramount importance that they are. Putting that inside the door there, ready for next time. There we are. That comes to completion of our tour around the caravan for you this afternoon. I hope you found this useful. Many thanks for buying from us at Viscount Leisure. Thank you and goodbye.